Guys, it's Jane. It's not Friday. Our boys had school off yesterday. It's Saturday morning and I've got about 10 minutes to do this in, so let's be really quick. First thing I have to tell you is that the BookTube SFF Awards, the third annual BookTube SFF Awards, the fan section of it is now open for voting, so please go and vote. I'll link below where you have to go and cast your vote. Even if you're only going to vote in one category, even if you've only read one of the books but you liked it, go ahead and vote. There's two really good books, in my opinion, up for Best Novel this year, which is A Nine Fox Gambit and The Obelisk Gate. Yeah, they were both really good, and I found it a really hard time to decide which one I was going to vote number one and number two. But everybody gets to decide, and I'm also really looking forward to the live show at the end of the month where the judges get to go through all of the nominees and fight about it. So yay! BookTube Awards season. It's great. The other thing I have to say is winter is here. I'm just, representing for the Southern Hemisphere. And in Melbourne, for those of you who don't know, it's traditional in Melbourne that it's kind of a running joke that in Melbourne everybody wears black all the time during winter. Well, most of the year, but especially in winter, that you go out in the streets and everybody's in black. So I'm representing Melbourne in my black top this morning. I have finished two books this week, but the big news is that the book that I'm reading at the moment is Robin Hobb's Assassin's Fate. I put on Twitter how I checked my library hold list and I was only number 10 in the list. Ha ha. Now, I've actually heard from other people who are more like 30 on their hold lists on their libraries. But anyway, my favourite librarian in the world, this week, my favourite librarian in the world, Tanya from List Obsessed Reader, who is a librarian at the Geelong Regional Library, replied saying that their copy was available. And because she knows I'm also a member down there, and so I quickly went on and got it, and I am reading Assassin's Fate. I actually held on to it just for a day after I finished the book that I was reading at the time when this whole thing happened, because for a day I just wasn't sure I was emotionally prepared to read it in case it was a letdown, or to let it end, because this is a series I've been reading for like a decade almost. Not Fits in the Fool, the last three, but the whole Realm of the Elderling series. This is kind of the conclusion. And I was so happy when I finally managed to tip myself over the edge and start, because it's been fantastic from the word go. The first sort of fifth is just like total Robin Hobb fan service. Like, I think every single major character from all of the storylines gets name checked. We've got the dragons, we've got the Rainwilders, we've got the live ships, we've got, all of the characters from the Fitz storyline getting pulled in, and thinking back to when we had the Red Ship Wars, and all this sort of stuff is relevantly being drawn back into the story. So it's like this whole big recap. I'm really loving that. The two books that I finished this week were also both really good reads. I finished the second Skeen book by Jo Clayton, which means that I finished out the A to Z readathon in the month of May, which is fantastic, at the easiest possible level. As I said, they're doing it again in November, so join in then if you'd like to try. I think I'm going to try at the next level up of hardness in November, so I'll be talking about that again close to the time. Skeen's Return is the second volume in a trilogy about Skeen, who is a world-hopping tomb robber, basically. She goes around and she excavates ruins. She's called a ruiner, and then finds things that are saleable in different places. And anyway, and she gets trapped at the beginning of the first book. She gets trapped on the other side of a world gate, and the whole of the first book is basically her traveling through this unknown to her world, meeting all these different people from all these different cultures, seeking a way to return through the gate. The second book is kind of her return journey to the gate, and lots of stuff in that secondary world get tied up. She's actually at the end of the second book, she's left that world. I think they're going to get back there. I think the payment she needs to get through the gate is that she needs to do something for them back in the world. And anyway, all that sort of stuff. So the third book is going to be interesting, though, because the person who is she has been cursing out the entirety of the first 2 books, who's kind of her lover, who left her, as far as she could see, at the beginning of the first book, which is why she was trapped and needed to go, escape through this world gate, which then closed on her, and all of the drama. So the person who she feels has felt betrayed by, and who we've never met, actually kind of swaggers out of the shadows, holding a gun on all of our heroes right at the very end of the second book, which I guess is a kind of a spoiler, but it's really the beginning of the third story, because everything sort of has concluded by the time you get through the gate at the end of that book. I'm really hanging out to read the third one now and work out what's going on with him. The other book that I read this week was Madeline Ashby's CompanyTown. I haven't got much time because I'm looking at the clock and I really have to finish. This was a really great read. It is a near-future sci-fi thriller set on a kind of, it's in a company town, which is housed on this offshore oil rig. It's a series of 5 towers off Newfoundland in Canada. Our main character is somebody who was born and grown up out on the rigs. Her mother is a prostitute, and she works for the sex workers union as a bodyguard. And there is complicated emotions going on between our main character and her mother. Her brother, however, was much beloved, but he was killed 3 years previously in an explosion in one of the oil rigs. And so we meet this character who is very much emotionally scarred by all these things in her life, and especially the loss of her brother. And then the company town, the rigs, come under new management, which is where the story starts. It's a fast-paced story. She is a kick-ass, gritty heroine who you can really get behind. Knowing who is the good guy and who is the bad guy is sufficiently fraught to make it interesting, but also sufficiently clear by the end to make it satisfying. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. So it's been a good reading week for me. I hope it's been a good reading week for you. I'd love to hear what you've been reading, especially if you've read any of these that I've been talking about. I hope you're all well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!